To take your game to the next level, you want to be a world champion, take the fighter training stack. Victor Conte's fighter training stack has brought me to the next level. Everything that I take on a daily basis, the fighter training stack is the best thing out right now. Devin Haney, I'm Snack Strong. Get it now, right?
Jerry Martinez with Fight Hub TV here with promoter Lou DiBella. Busy month, busy
It's been
week.
a busy time, man. Busy's good. When you're a boxing promoter, busy's good.
That's very good, yeah. So
having too much time on your hands, not good. Busy's good. Yeah.
So obviously tomorrow, Ryan Garcia versus Emmanuel Tagoe. Big fight here in San Antonio, Texas.
It's Tagoe's whole life, honestly. It's his whole career. I mean, he's got to go in there and perform. No matter what happens, win, lose, or draw, he's got to go in there and perform. I've said this many times. Ghanaian fighters are a bitch to fight. They're hungry. They're incredibly conditioned. They're prepared by fighting other Ghanaian fighters. The old expression, iron sharpens iron.
Yes.
These guys in Ghana, there's a big boxing community in Ghana. A hungry Ghanaian fighter is a danger. Garcia's got a lot of advantages. Length, great left hook, speed. Tagoe is very awkward and very, very skilled. And his ticker, like his not only his heart, but his conditioning is incredible. Like there was a situation, Xander Zayas was preparing for a fight. Tagoe flew over from Ghana, got off the airplane, and they brought him to the gym. They were looking for sparring for Xander. Tagoe did 12 rounds of sparring, getting off a 10-hour flight right to the
jet
gym.
Lag too.
I mean, jet lag the whole bit. His conditioning is superb. If it gets past 4 or 5 rounds without Ryan landing something big, it could be a really, really interesting night and a really long night for Ryan. I mean, I think Ryan's going to try to assert himself early, but if Ryan can't hurt Tagoe in the first half of the fight, all bets are off.
Lou, you basically answered my question of break down the fight for us. So obviously it's, we're going to expect a good night of boxing here in San Antonio, Texas.
Look, the undercard's great. I'm looking forward to Shane Mosley Jr. and
Gabriel Rosado.
That's a great match. That's great. Look, I always said this, credit where it's worth. Great matchmaking at Golden Boy. I mean, Robert's a terrific matchmaker, and I love the Rosado Shane match.
I do too.
Shane's got to prove something. It's time, right? But he's very athletic. He's a terrific physical talent. Rosado's a fucking animal. I mean, I don't care about 12 losses. He's a hard out. I don't care. It's a hard out for anybody. He's always in a rumble. It's a terrific match. I'm looking forward to the whole card.
And Gabe, just to piggyback off of that, Gabe is one of those few fighters that, even though has losses, you still want to see him. You still want to watch him.
I mean, Gabe's in that, and look, this is the greatest compliment I can pay him. He's in the category of like a Mickey Ward and Emmanuel Augustus or whatever. It doesn't matter how many losses he has. He's a man's man. He's a terrific fighter. And he's going to make you fight. He's going to test you. If you're a fraud, you're going to be uncovered, period.
Let's switch the page. George Kambosos is on top of the world right now.
Yeah,
certainly he deserves it.
He earned it.
He deserves it, exactly. He earns it. Last week we got the big news. Devin Haney was this week. Last week.
Devin Haney last week.
Devin Haney.
Yeah. Great. I mean, look, you can't make a much better match than Kambosos and Haney. Two of the great young talents in boxing. Different styles. George is more aggressive. Haney is a brilliant boxer. The kid's brilliant in terms of his ring smarts. 60,000 people. Marvel Stadium in Melbourne. It's going to be a crazy, crazy environment. Extravaganza. It's going to be a boxing extravaganza. And the winner's going to be able to say, I'm the man. The winner of that fight. Look, George is the man right now. To beat the man, you got to beat the man to beat a man.
Yeah.
And that's what Haney's trying to do. And great credit to George for taking the challenge. Great credit for Haney for making it happen.
And I quote you. You said that Haney was easy fight to make. At
the end, when it became clear that George just basically said, "Go get him," and Haney, I went to Bill, Haney's father, and I said, "We're going to make this fight if you guys really want to make the fight. We're going to figure out a way to make this fight." And they were men of their word. And Devin wanted this fight. He understands what it means for his career. And George wanted the fight because George wants that other belt. And by the way, George doesn't even think about losing. He's the most confident guy I've ever promoted. I mean, his attitude, he didn't give a shit about a rematch clause. I'm a promoter. It's my job to protect my fighter and my business.
Exactly.
So I got a rematch clause because he's got the majority of the belts and he's fighting an optional fight, and I was able to. And frankly, if Haney were to win, a rematch would be huge, still, particularly in Australia. But George doesn't even want to think about losing. And George doesn't believe he's going to lose. And George is like, it doesn't matter because I'm going to fight somebody else next because I'm winning. And it's going to be a great fight, man. It's going to be a great fight for boxing fans. It's going to be, and look, I love streaming services. I like pay-per-view. I like any distribution of boxing to the people of great fights, right? But there is something to be said for the fact you're going to be able to get it in the United States on ESPN without having to pay anything extra for it. You're going to get it on your normal cable, your normal satellite, your normal TV. So
old school times, huh?
Old school times, man.
Now, we know that Lomachenko has a bigger fight right now, and
Ukraine,
obviously
yeah.
in Ukraine. Did Kambosos wanted more Lomachenko, or did he wanted Haney at the moment?
No, actually, interestingly, he first wanted, the first instructions were go get me Haney. And we tried, and I couldn't make a deal in the beginning. And then the Loma popped up and the negotiations started. It was clear that I could make a really good deal with Loma. And Loma's a legend. And also George wanted Haney, but George also understood, wait a minute, I beat Loma. Now I've beaten a first ballot Hall of Famer. After beating the man with all the belts in Teofimo, I'm on a pound for pound top. So both fights were of interest to him. But we tried to make Haney. We made Loma. We went back to Haney. The fight's happening. And when George beats Haney, we're gonna look. I know him. He doesn't want to do anything small. So it's going to be the biggest and best fights as long as Kambosos is standing with those belts.
Kambosos' mentality right now is like, I just want.
Yeah, man. He just wants to prove himself, and he thinks he's the man. He knows he's the man. I'm telling you, the confidence is real. What you see in these interviews or whatever, man, that's who he is. That's what he believes. He said it himself. He dreamed this. He believed this. He manifested this, and it happened. You know, he didn't just beat Teofimo. He beat Teofimo, right? And now he's going in there with a young stud. I mean, Haney's not many guys are running to a Lomachenko or a Haney in their first fight after winning an undisputed belt against Teofimo Lopez. So he's proved his championship medal already by wanting to fight these guys. And the fact that we're fighting Haney June 5th in Marvel Stadium in Melbourne, it says everything you need to know about George Kambosos. Now I got to run, bro. I got to get my
Thank you
ride.
so much, Lou. Thank you.
Always a pleasure.